Hey everyone, how are you doing today? I hope you're taking a small moment for yourself right now. Maybe just slowing down life for a bit and letting your mind settle before we begin. So, before we start, like always, I want to repeat again that I'm not a scholar and I'm not someone who has perfect knowledge of Islam. I'm just someone who's learning, reflecting, and researching and trying to grow, just like many of you. And this Ramadan series is simply a space for reflection. And many of the topics we talk about come from reminders, lectures, or conversations that stayed with me and made me think more deeply about my relationship with Allah. And today's reflection was inspired by a reminder I once watched from Sadiq Lecamus, where he spoke about something that really stayed in my mind for a long time. And it was how Shaytan tried to stop us from becoming our best self. Not in one obvious way, but from different directions. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized how often we experience these attacks without even noticing them. So, now let's begin. When we think about Shaitan, we often imagine temptation. We imagine him pushing people directly towards sin. But sometimes his strategy is much more subtle. Sometimes he doesn't need to make you commit a big mistake. Sometimes all he needs to do is stop you from moving forward, stopping you from growing, stopping you from improving, stopping you from becoming the person you could be. And one way to understand this is through the idea that Shaitan attacks us from 4 directions. Each directions target different weakness in the human's heart. Now, let's talk about those 4 directions. One way Shaitan attacks us is from the front, through fear. Fear of failure, fear of change, fear of what people might think. Maybe you want to improve your life. Maybe you want to become more disciplined, more focused, closer to Allah. But then a voice appears in your mind. What if you fail? What if you can't stay consistent? What will people say? And suddenly, instead of moving forward, you stay exactly where you are. Sometimes Shaitan doesn't need to push you towards sin. Sometimes he just needs to make you too afraid to grow. Now the second direction, which is from the right, through arrogance. This one is especially dangerous because it can even appear during good action. Maybe you start paying more, maybe you start improving yourself, and slowly without noticing, another thought appear. At least I'm better than them. Comparison begins, pride begins, and what started as a sincere act of worship slowly becomes about ego. And Shaitan couldn't stop the good action, but he tried to corrupt the intention behind it. Now, the third way, the left. And this one is about normalizing sin. At first, sometimes feel wrong. Your conscience tell you it's not right. But over time, small thoughts appear. It's not that serious. Everyone does it. It's just one time. And slowly the sin become easier. Not because it changed, but because our heart become used to it. And one of the most dangerous moments is when a sin stops feeling like sin. Now, the fourth and final way is that sometimes Shaitan traps people by making them romanticize their past. They remember their old habit, old lifestyle, and start missing them. Other times he traps people with guilt. He reminds them of their mistakes again and again until they believe they can never change. But both traps lead to the same result. You stop moving forward, you become stuck between regret and nostalgia. Now, this is where something important comes in, where to protect ourselves from Shaitan, we have to know ourselves. We have to understand our weakness, and you have to ask yourself those questions. Are you someone who constantly fear moving forward? Are you someone who compares your good deed to others? Or are you someone who start downplaying sins? Or are you someone who feel trapped in the past? Because once you recognize where Shaitan attack you, you become more aware. And awareness is the first step toward guarding your heart. Now, the reality is that Shaitan will always try to mislead us. That is a part of the test of this life. Okay? But Allah has also give us something powerful. He give us awareness, reflection, and the ability to return to Him again and again. Sometimes becoming a better person doesn't start with a huge change. Sometimes it just starts with something much simpler. Recognizing the trap and choosing step by step to move forward anyway. And that was all for this episode, and I hope you kind of learned something from it, and I hope you had an amazing day, an amazing iftar, and thank you so much for sitting with me today, and I will see you in the next episode, inshallah.